Most people spend their entire lives looking outward, chasing success, validation and comfort, unaware that a hidden gateway lies dormant within them. A gateway not to another place, but to a deeper way of seeing. The third eye is more than a mystical concept or spiritual cliché. It is an ancient mechanism of perception that, once activated, alters the very way life is experienced. Yet tragically, the majority never explore it. They dismiss the possibility that something within could unlock such vast, life-altering awareness. But those who dare to open it never see life the same way again. When this inner eye awakens, it begins to peel away the layers of illusion that cloud judgment and fragment truth. Vision sharpens, not with the physical eyes, but with intuition, clarity, and deep spiritual insight. The third eye is the lamp that reveals what has always been there, quietly waiting. As the veil lifts, reality is no longer linear or lifeless. It becomes a living dialogue between you and the universe. Let us now explore what truly happens when the third eye opens and why this ancient wisdom continues to speak across time. Behind every moment of confusion, every choice made from fear instead of trust, there lies a lack of deeper vision, the kind of vision that doesn't rely on sight but on knowing. Deep within the human mind rests the third eye, an invisible organ of perception that perceives not what is seen, but what is true. It calls to those who feel that life is more than routines and roles, to those who sense there's something hidden just beyond the veil. And yet most pass it by, unaware that their inability to truly see is not a limitation of their physical eyes, but a forgetting of their inner sight. The third eye doesn't knock loudly. It waits in silence, like a lantern buried beneath years of noise. While many brush off the idea as fantasy or mysticism, those who walk the path of inner discovery learn that the third eye is not a myth, but a mechanism, an ancient faculty embedded in human consciousness. Not merely symbolic, its power stems from the pineal gland, nestled in the geometric center of the brain. This small, pine-cone-shaped gland has intrigued both sages and scientists. Known for regulating sleep cycles through melatonin production, it is far more mysterious in its potential role as a center of spiritual perception. Ancient cultures didn't stumble upon this gland by accident. They encoded its importance in symbols, rituals, and architecture. The pineal gland stands apart from other parts of the brain. Unlike most brain tissue, it is not protected by the blood-brain barrier. It interacts directly with the bloodstream, almost as though designed to bridge the physical and the subtle. Within this gland are microscopic calcite crystals, whose piezoelectric properties allow them to generate electrical currents under pressure. This phenomenon has sparked theories that the pineal gland can respond to subtle energetic or electromagnetic stimuli, making it a kind of receiver, an antenna not just for hormones, but for higher frequencies of consciousness. The ancients didn't have modern terms for this, but they knew it intuitively. In ancient Egypt, the third eye was depicted as the Eye of Horus, a symbol woven into every temple and every amulet. It represented not just protection, but divine sight, the ability to perceive truth beyond the illusion. In Hinduism, it is the Ajna chakra, the command center of inner knowing. Buddhist monks meditate for decades, focusing their awareness on this very point between the brows to break through the illusion of separateness and reach nirvana. These traditions, though scattered across continents, all point to the same truth. The third eye is a bridge, a sacred passageway from ordinary to extraordinary awareness. To begin understanding what happens when it opens, one must first grasp what it has been silencing. The distractions of modern life, the screens, the noise, the constant need to do, cloud the subtle signals of the third eye. Activation doesn't necessarily add something new. Rather, it dissolves what is false. It's like stepping out of a fog into a clear morning. The sky was always there, you just couldn't see it. And in that clarity, you begin to sense that you are not just in the world, you are intimately connected to its every unfolding rhythm. Once the fog begins to lift and the dormant eye stirs, the world no longer presents itself in the same form. What was once perceived as static and fragmented becomes fluid, alive with meaning. The veil that separated instinct from intellect starts to dissolve. That forgotten gateway, now remembered and stirred, opens into a realm of inner vision so vivid it makes ordinary perception feel dull by comparison. You begin to realize that true clarity was never about sharper eyesight, but deeper sight, an alignment between consciousness and truth that no longer needs external proof to validate internal knowing. As the third eye opens, intuition stops being a whisper and becomes a guiding force. No longer dismissed as guesswork or coincidence, it begins to anchor your decisions, your relationships, your direction. You sense what is right without rationalizing it, feel the weight of a choice before the consequences unfold, and navigate life not with reaction, but resonance. This inner compass grows stronger with use. Like a muscle once neglected, it becomes agile, responsive, and trustworthy. The more you listen to it, the more it speaks, not in words, but in unmistakable signals that move through your body and settle in your heart. The world around you responds to this transformation. Subtle energies that once passed unnoticed become as real as the ground beneath your feet. You might walk into a room and sense its emotional residue. Conversations hold layers you never heard before. Glances, silences, gestures. They carry texture, weight, history. Life itself begins to shimmer with symbolism. A bird crossing your path, a number that repeats, a dream that lingers through the morning, all become threads in a tapestry woven by the unseen. With the third eye open, you stop interpreting events literally and begin reading between the lines of the universe. And as perception deepens, so too does your emotional landscape. An open third eye brings a rare form of self-awareness, one that is not just intellectual, but experiential. You witness your thoughts as they arise. You trace emotions to their roots. Instead of becoming entangled in the drama of reaction, you observe, you reflect, you alchemize. Emotions lose their power to destabilize because they no longer catch you off guard. Anger becomes a messenger, fear a mirror, sadness a cleansing rain. Through this process, resilience forms not as armor but as clarity. There is also a noticeable transformation in the quality of your mind. Thoughts become less chaotic, more intentional. The mental chatter that once hijacked your focus begins to quiet down. With fewer distractions clouding your field, decisions feel effortless and grounded. You stop overthinking and begin knowing. Your capacity to stay present grows, and with it comes a calm that isn't easily shaken. Productivity improves, not because you push harder, but because you align more deeply with what truly matters. Life begins to flow, and you move with it instead of against it. This inner clarity ripples outward into your relationships and choices. You attract people who resonate with your frequency, and the ones who drain your energy gradually fall away. Communication becomes less about convincing and more about connecting. And the more you live from this centered space, the more you embody authenticity. That authenticity becomes a beacon, subtle but unmistakable. It's not perfection, but presence. It's not about seeing more than others, but seeing with more truth. Through the third eye, you don't just observe life, you participate in it fully, awake and aligned. Every shift in consciousness has a mirror in biology. While ancient mystics described the third eye in metaphysical terms, modern science has slowly begun to map its outlines. The pineal gland, that mysterious organ of inner sight, may hold the key. Structurally similar to the eyes, it even contains light-sensitive cells. Its alignment with cycles of light and darkness suggests it is nature's original timekeeper, but some researchers believe it is far more than that. Within the pineal are microcrystals of calcite, each with piezoelectric properties, the ability to convert mechanical pressure into electrical energy. When these crystals vibrate, they may act like receivers, amplifying subtle frequencies in the environment, much like an antenna. Could this be the biological explanation for extrasensory perception, clairvoyance, and spiritual vision long attributed to the third eye? DMT, a naturally occurring psychedelic compound, has also been found in trace amounts in the human brain and is believed by some to be produced in larger quantities during states of extreme consciousness, birth, death, and deep mystical experiences. The visions reported during DMT experiences, beings of light, geometric landscapes, timeless awareness, mirror those from ancient meditation traditions. What if these aren't hallucinations, but perceptions through a newly awakened sensory gate? Through this lens, the third eye becomes not just symbolic, but operational. Its activation represents a harmonization of inner and outer technology, spirit and structure. By aligning consciousness with the pineal's unique properties, one might unlock perceptual faculties dormant since birth. It's not that you're gaining new abilities, you're remembering ancient ones. As the barrier between science and spirituality begins to dissolve, what emerges is a holistic understanding of human potential. The awakening of the third eye isn't just a spiritual metaphor. It may be a biological event, a neurological evolution, and a return to the source. Traditions that revered the third eye never left its awakening to chance. Across cultures and centuries, they mapped out deliberate methods, practices not just of belief, but of transformation. These techniques weren't mere rituals. They were engines of perception designed to shift awareness from the outer noise to the inner signal. Meditation, visualization, controlled breathing, mantras, all of them crafted as keys to unlock what lies behind the brow. With consistent effort and conscious intention, these practices begin to clear the mental static, inviting you into a space where deeper truth reveals itself. Meditation remains the cornerstone, not just sitting in silence, but consciously directing attention inward, especially to the point between the eyebrows, where the third eye is said to reside. In this space, thought loses its grip. As the mind quiets, the breath slows, and awareness anchors in stillness, a subtle current begins to rise. It may begin as a faint pressure or a warmth in the forehead, gradually growing into a profound sense of presence. Regular meditation rewires perception, not by adding new information, but by clearing away the noise that distorts what's already there. Visualization acts as a bridge between intention and energy. By mentally picturing an eye, a flame, or a radiant light on the forehead, you stimulate the energetic and neurological pathways associated with the third eye. These symbols aren't random, they are archetypes, imprints in the human psyche, carried across generations and cultures. Visualizing them consistently sends a message to your consciousness: awaken. The third eye begins to stir, responding to focused attention like a seed turning toward the sun. Paired with breathwork, this inner light becomes not just imagined, but felt. Pranayama, or yogic breathing, deepens the effect. Breathing isn't merely a biological act, it's energetic. Practices like alternate nostril breathing balance the hemispheres of the brain, calm the nervous system, and stimulate the pineal gland. Breath becomes the chisel that sculpts awareness, shaping each inhale into a moment of presence, and each exhale into a release of resistance. Over time, breath and attention fuse, creating a space where the third eye can activate without force, just a natural blooming into consciousness. In this state, stillness isn't empty, it becomes luminous. Mantras, particularly sacred sounds like Om, provide vibrational resonance to amplify these effects. Sound, when spoken with intention, doesn't just travel through air, it vibrates the very structure of consciousness. Chanting Om, often called the primordial sound, is said to align the practitioner with the frequency of the universe. It resonates directly through the head and chest, subtly stimulating the area of the third eye. These vibrations work like tuning forks, recalibrating the body and mind into a state receptive to spiritual insight. Combined with meditation and breath, mantras act as sonic tools of awakening, calling the inner vision to open and see. When practices become consistent and the inner gateway opens fully, the shift in perception is no longer theoretical, it becomes embodied. The meditations, mantras, visualizations, and breathwork evolve from techniques into natural states of being. You no longer seek silence, you carry it with you. Awareness no longer flickers in and out, it remains. The third eye, once dormant, now gazes steadily, not outward into the chaos, but inward into clarity. This awakening doesn't disconnect you from reality, it draws you deeper into it, revealing the living patterns beneath its surface. Life after the third eye awakens feels less like navigating and more like dancing. You begin to respond to the world not from programming or panic, but from alignment. Choices that once required endless debate become intuitive. The noise of external opinion loses its weight. You listen more to your inner compass than to the crowd. Situations that once triggered fear or anxiety now appear as lessons, carefully tailored to your growth. There is a steadiness, a centeredness that others may not understand, but they can feel it. You carry a different kind of presence, subtle but unmistakable. Emotional resilience deepens. The waves of anger, sadness, or frustration may still come, but they no longer drown you. You see them rising from the ocean of your being and let them pass without clinging. This witnessing is powerful. It allows space between impulse and action, thought and reaction. Relationships shift as well. Surface-level connections often fade, replaced by bonds rooted in truth and shared presence. You become more honest, more discerning, more compassionate, not from effort but from vision. You don't just understand others, you begin to feel them as extensions of yourself. With the third eye open, reality becomes layered. On one level, the physical world continues. Bills must be paid, appointments kept, but beneath that, a deeper current flows. Synchronicities increase, dreams become more vivid, intuition guides with precision. You begin to sense an intelligence behind everything, one that communicates not in language, but in patterns, timing, and energy. The old need for control begins to dissolve. Instead of striving to force outcomes, you begin to align with the flow of life, and in doing so, you don't lose yourself, you finally meet yourself. From that point of inner awakening, something remarkable happens. You begin to walk in two realities at once. The clarity gained through the third eye doesn't vanish when you open your eyes to the physical world. It overlays it, coloring every interaction, every choice, every thought. The deeper current you once only glimpsed in quiet moments now flows beneath your daily life. Ordinary tasks become sacred, and mundane encounters reveal hidden meaning. You move through the material world with the insight of the immaterial, bridging what once felt like two opposing realms. This dual awareness is not a burden, but a gift. While others may still be swept away by distractions, you remain anchored. You notice more, the emotional undercurrents in a conversation, the energetic shift in a room, the deeper intention behind a smile or silence. Your senses stretch beyond their original boundaries, picking up on vibrations, symbols, and subtle cues. The universe starts to feel less like a collection of random events and more like a responsive organism, reacting to your inner state and reflecting it back in real time. But with greater sight comes greater responsibility. The clarity you now possess demands integrity. Choices that once seemed harmless now echo louder. Truth becomes your compass, and straying from it carries a sharper dissonance. Fear may still visit, but it no longer dictates your path. You've seen too much of what lies beyond illusion to return to sleep. That doesn't mean life becomes effortless. Challenges still arise, emotions still surge, but you now meet them from a deeper place. You've learned to hold paradoxes, to move with uncertainty, and to trust what can't be explained. You begin to live as a silent teacher, not by preaching, but by presence. Those around you may sense something different: your calm, your clarity, your ability to navigate chaos without losing your center. Without trying, you become an invitation to others, an invitation to remember, to see, to awaken. And while the journey through the third eye may have started with ancient symbols or spiritual practices, it ultimately becomes the way you live. You are no longer just surviving the world, you are shaping it from within, walking between the seen and the unseen with grace. The third eye is not a myth or a mystery. It is a faculty waiting to awaken. Its activation brings transformation on every level: spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. Through ancient practices and modern understanding, it becomes possible to see beyond the illusion and step into truth. To open your third eye is to reclaim your inner sight, to navigate life with clarity, and to live in alignment with the universe. In the end, it is not about seeing more, but about seeing truly, and in that vision, everything changes.